Test. And Karen? Yeah. All right. I don't have to look down, right? No.
Talking to my shoulder.
I just want to add that Nancy listed all the amazing things about Space Coast, and we have a wonderful artist community as well. The artist support and all the art galleries and the amazing talent here. Obviously, it's a beautiful place, and so we're very fortunate that Ella is now a part of that artist community. And I figure I could just start with some breaking news, which was my background. Now I'm a magazine editor, which is wonderful, but we've not been able to publicly announce it yet. So you're hearing it first, that Ella art was approved by the Art and Public Places Committee to go on display in the Government Center in Vieira. So that's a big deal. Yeah. So we're just excited. It should be installed sometime this week, and then we'll be able to sing it from the rooftops. We're on a rooftop right now, so we're singing it.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about this young lady's background and a little bit of history that I have with her mom before we dive into some questions. So it was a little over 6 years ago that Lee and I sat together in a personal development workshop sharing pictures, her of Ella and me of my granddaughter, Naitiri. And Shannon, who is a member of this chamber, Shannon Prosize, her Acceleration Summit was the event that we were at. So I just like to connect the dots for people, that this just isn't by accident that this all happened. And so I was talking to Lee, and she had told me that she was an editor, and I was like brand new into publishing my magazine. I was working on the 3rd issue at the time, and I thought to myself, how would I ever afford an editor? Like, how is that gonna work? Like, and I didn't at that time have the courage to ask her, like, what would it take to hire you as an editor? Because I was like, I don't have any money. How is that gonna work? And so I stuck her business card on my computer, and then the universe started connecting us. A photographer connected us, another person connected us, and she reached out to me and she said, could I just edit your publication for free? And I was like, okay, I suppose so. And as she started in on the April 2017 issue, I could see the magic happening. And I remember telling her, like, I love this gift that you're giving me, but I have to pay you something. And that's how we got started. And she has helped not only to fine-tune my skills and help me develop my voice in this business community and personal development for that as well, but she's done it for so many of the business owners that we champion and our contributors in the magazine. And I am just so grateful for her skills and talents and willingness to share them with us, and more importantly than that, our friendship. And I just love you. Thank you. And Ella, where did I lost them. I need those. Ella is just this little powerhouse of positivity ever since the day that I met her. And it's her energy is infectious. And I just love everything about how she carries herself, how she shares her passion through YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and video and art and everything else. We'll dive into this a little bit more as we get going, but so she engulfs those around her with infectious positive energy. She's enjoyed roles in TV, film, commercials, and Broadway. At age 6, she charmed audiences as the lovable and quirky Emily Ryan, a series regular on the ABC sitcom United We Fall. along comedic greats like Jane Curtin from Saturday Night Live and Will Sasso. And I bet you have some fun stories to share with us about that experience. The little old soul that she is, she's got 18 commercials to her credit, including Disney, Marriott, Hasbro, Gerber. She's worked on a commercial with Baseball Hall of Fame player Derek Jeter, which is just adorable. So she's got so many stories and so many incredible things. Oh, yes. And I'll let you tell that part.
And John Stamos and Amy Poehler.
And Adam Sandler.
Adam Sandler.
Whoa. And I think that's probably good.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Those are the big ones.
So let me ask you my first question. Can you describe or remember a first memory of knowing that you wanted to be an actress?
Well, my mom got me into musical theater and
2.5.
at 2.5, and I guess my first recital that I ever did when I was 3. At the end of my act, the crowd was just like cheering, and I loved it, and I kept bowing and waving, and I just kept doing that, and my teacher had to escort me out of the stage because I wouldn't stop. And I guess I just showed that to them, and I started doing more and more theater and musical stuff, and I just started to love it. It's acting.
Lee, at what point did you and Brandon realize you were raising a creative child actress, dancer, musician, entrepreneur?
Well, Ella is correct. Prior to turning 3, there were like no activities that would accept a young child. Dance, gymnastics, 3 years old usually was the cutoff. And I was like, but she's so ready for something. Like if there's music, she's moving, she's grooving, right? And she's singing. And there's video, like the things that she just described where her teacher had to escort her off stage, there's video on YouTube of that. Like, so that's how we remember and relive the moment. And then I did not remember until I came across the video, which is now on YouTube. At 22 months old, she was singing a song and I was trying to help her and she said, "No, mommy, no, like don't help me." And so early, she was like enjoying being a performer, which is so opposite of her parents. You know, my husband is a cybersecurity software engineer who would live in a cave and never come out and see sunshine if you let him. You know, that's his personality. And I'm a writer, and so I enjoy writing and spotlighting other people. And as an editor and a writer, I don't want to be the one in the spotlight. I can't tell you, it's been years since I put makeup on, so thank you for making me try to remember how to do it this morning. So, and then there's this, who comes out of us, and it has been an incredible journey trying to figure out how to let her shine when it's just not what we're used to. And it's been an incredible adventure.
Ella, I remember having breakfast with you and your mommy at Perkins. I don't know if you remember, but we were going over magazine stories and things like that, and Ella had her little beads out, and she was making bracelets for her dolls. And I remember asking you, could you make me a bracelet that said type 1 on it? Do you remember that? And then I asked you, how much would you charge me for that?
I don't remember the answer to that. What'd you say? I don't remember.
Free?
You did. You said you would just make it for me. But I think at that moment, a little spark was created in you to start your Ella Bella Beads company. And you were 4, I think? Yeah. And look at how far you've come. Tell me about that entrepreneurship journey. Like, has it been fun, scary?
Well, it's been very fun. I think most of the scary part, if there was any, would be on her.
Makes sense.
But it's just been a fun journey, and I just remember making my toys look pretty made this.
And you have gone from selling your bracelets online to going to farmers markets. There's lots of stages in getting prepared for something like that. Like, you have to set up, you have to make product, you have to think about packaging, you have to sell your product to customers. What's your favorite part of the process?
Well, I do art, and I think in art, my favorite thing would be making it because it's just so much fun, and I do pastels, and I love getting my fingers messy, and then it's just, when it's all done, it's just beautiful. But I think when I sell bracelets, I think selling's my favorite part, because I know I'm kind of young for this, but I like money.
It does make the world go round, right? So do you start conversations with your customers?
Yes.
What are some of the questions you like to ask them?
Some of the questions I like to ask, well, usually they ask me and those become questions, but they usually ask me if I made this art, and I usually ask if they've done any art or if they have any like experience with art or gifts. And I just love talking with customers. It shows my personality and their personality, and you get to connect more.
That's important. Relationship building is important for sure. Lee, let me ask you, as Ella's, I think momager is the right word that you use,
not a fan of that word, but
industry.
it's some people call it.
So you help to manage her acting career, but the business and her social. How do you do all of those things? Because there's a lot to it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I wish I could be more organized. And y'all are not invited into my house because it's a disaster. Like, that's the one thing that just falls. You know, something's got to fall through, but it's just not tidy. I'm not hosting a party anytime soon. But we get Ella where she needs to go. Like, after today, we're on our way straight to guitar and piano and voice lessons. It's music day. Tomorrow's art day. And Thursday she has a big audition in Orlando. So, you know, and then 2 auditions came in yesterday. So we got to tape one. We taped one last night. We got another one later tonight. So we have to prioritize, and auditions do get priority. She had 6 in 1 week, 2 weeks ago. That's a lot. Memorizing lines. Sometimes when it's voiceover, you can just read the lines. We have a little, our closet is a recording studio. But so then I have to drop what I'm doing to start reviewing lines with her and help her memorize her lines to do the audition for films and TVs and really big projects we're signing NDAs for, so we can't even talk about them. So she just got her 68th audition for this year, 68 in half a year. And we're on record pace. She was a little over 100 last year and just under 100 the year before, total. And so you can see your booking percentage is pretty low, but you gotta be in it to win it. So we prioritize. And obviously the magazine is one of my priorities, and thankfully there's a cycle, you know, when we go to press and I can breathe for a little while. And farmers markets, I don't know how we decided to fit that in, but Ella did the children's business fair, the Brevard Children's Business Fair, and she wanted to do it when she was 5, but they only take you at age 6, so we had to wait. And then when she did it, she said, "Mom, I want to do this again, like sell at an event." And so I found a market the next week, and then we never stopped. So we do 1 or 2 a month. And it is a hustle. I sometimes, I don't know why we do it, but she tells me to go take a walk, because she wants to be left alone at the table to do the credit card transactions, talk to people, right? Who make me.
Well, we have tons of friends around, so it's not like it's
Right.
not safe.
We make friends with our neighboring booths, so I can, but it's so funny. She's like, go. Like, I want to be around my
And you need to see all the cool stuff there. Yeah.
So anyway, the question was, how do I do it? And also, you know, I'm an artist, not like her. Like, I don't have that skill to draw like that.
Well, you kind
But
of do.
not as good as you. But I like, you know, making jewelry or helping write a script. She's into filmmaking now. She made her first film, wants to be a director. And so I'm fortunate that my child is into the artsy things that I like to do, and it never gets boring. we're like, hey, let's write a song now, or hey, it's music time, get out the guitar, you know. And I love all of that. So I guess we're fortunate that we match up in that sense. But she's far beyond. I mean, her wit, her ability to sing and just do music and art, it's really refreshing. So I guess it's a 4.0 version of my 1.0.
Let me ask you one more question. Knowing what you know now, is there anything about the journey of acting or entrepreneurship that you would change based on what you know now?
Okay, that's a good question. I'm going to give you an anecdote of something, I guess an example of where I'm proud that I went for it with Ella. So she did a Broadway show when she was 5, Waitress, if anyone has seen it, when it came through Orlando on tour. And she got a New York agent, and our sole goal, there's very few roles at that age, you know, on Broadway, was, hey, if the New York role of that show opens up, Ella's very interested in it. I'm from New Jersey, so I have family, we take the train, you know, it was a great opportunity to think, oh, let's go hang out up there for 6 months, you know. And I found out, because I network like there's no tomorrow, to find out, just be on top of information and be on top of what's going on in the industry, also as a business. And as a journalist, my research instincts always serve me well. And I came across the fact that the New York role was up again for, you know, the girls age out every few months, 6 months or so. And I called the New York agent and I said, why didn't you tell me? Like, this is the job we've been hoping that Ella could get. So she called me back 2 o'clock on Friday when I was picking Ella up from, I guess it was kindergarten or pre-K or pre-kindergarten. And she said, you have an audition Monday morning at 11 in New York. I was like, oh, so it's Friday. I guess I gotta buy us a plane ticket. This is what I asked for. So we went up there. It was November, beautiful. It was, we had hot chocolate. The tree was up in Rockefeller Plaza. Had a great experience. We get back home, and the voicemail is, they loved Ella. She's their #1 choice, but she's 3 months too old. Like, there's contracts, like, for how, I can go into it. But I was very upset because they knew her birthday before we spent our own money to fly up there. And we were crushed. And then I was convinced by other people to take her to LA for what was called pilot season. If anyone's familiar with it, anyone know what that means, pilot season? Well, now, since the pandemic and with the growth of streaming, that's really not so much a thing, but there's basically from mid-January to April is when all the networks would make their pilots for new TV shows. And so if you didn't already live there, you would go hang out there for a few months and go to all the auditions for the pilots. So we went to LA because we didn't go to New York. And that's when Ella got her TV show. She got booked as a series regular at age 6 on a brand new sitcom on ABC. This was just like the stuff that dreams are made of. It's just insane. Like what I'm talking about, to think that was our real life. So because New York didn't work out, we're like, hey, let's just go to LA and live this crazy thing and the opportunity of a lifetime. I mean, you only hope that that'll be matched again, happened. And that just changed everything for her. It really did. So you asked me if I would change anything. Me going to New York with my child the day after I got a phone call and going to LA for 3 months with her, I never in a million years would have done that. I'm a planner, I'm conservative, I don't take risks, that's the way I was. And now we hop on planes hours after we're told that she's got these things happening. Literally, that's another story, but hours. So I guess I'm glad that I was able to adapt, but I just did it because I realized if we didn't, then someone else is gonna go after the opportunity, and what do we have to lose? Nothing. So she's a great traveler. We have so much fun. You know, wherever, we're always partially packed and ready to go.
Even if I stay up till 2 in the morning, it's worth it.
Yeah, that did happen once.
Circling back around to business and a little bit of dot connecting, when I had launched my business, I wanted to work with individuals like Lee as independent contractors. I did not want employees, staffing, specific hours. So by design, I looked for people who had special gifts in areas that I needed, like Nancy said, hire your weaknesses, right? And so the whole team has been built on this model graphic designer, the website editor, my editor, our writers, like everybody. So when Lee has to jump on those planes, with two of them have to jump on the plane in the middle of the night, I get a text message, we're flying, but my internet or Wi-Fi on the plane is working, I'm editing, and we have not missed a beat. So I think one lesson in business is to be open to those creative ideas and opportunities on your human capital and how you want to leverage them to grow your business and stuff. Let's see.
Tracy, when you get a chance, can you open it up to the audience?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, if anybody has questions.
Why don't I do that now? Does anybody have any specific questions that you would like to ask?
Are your siblings, I mean, this is a full-time job.
Oh, that's a great question. Ella is an only child. I messed up and got married to someone else before, and thankfully we didn't have kids, so I started a little bit later. I was 37 when I had her, and
I still want a sibling.
she still begs for a sibling or a pet. I get it. She has 2 mice, which she earned, right? When did you get the mice after? Was it?
I got them when I did my first recital with my guitar. I sang a song, and it was my first recital that I ever did with my guitar. And right after that, I kept jumping for joy because we bought the cage, we got the food, got the wheel, we got everything. And then I guess my mom and my dad finally let me have the one thing I wanted is someone to talk to when they're busy at work.
Yeah, the mice are good listeners. Yeah, but I mean, we really want to get a dog. She loves animals. You can see she draws all animals. She wants to be a zookeeper. Like, she just loves animals. But we can't have a pet because we have to be able to hop on a plane right now. So, it's just the reality of it.
Maggie, you have
Yes,
a question?
okay, so my question is, with all those auditions that we do and then the low booking, right, like how do you mentally prepare yourself that it could be a no and not like dwell on that and get hung up on the no all the time?
Do we answer that for you?
I can kind of do that one. I mean, when I have an audition, I mean, yeah, in the beginning, I kind of remember me being really down because after you do it once, you just want to keep doing it and never stop. But I think you get to know that, you can't get everyone. I mean, you have to just be happy for the other people who would get it. And you just have to say that that's all right. There's still a million to go. Let's do it.
Also, I'll just say that the way that, especially with children, that we try to teach them is the auditioning is the job. The booking is the bonus. It's because you have to love the act of auditioning or else you just can't be doing it anymore. You shouldn't be forced to do it. You shouldn't feel like it's a chore. And we turn down some auditions, for content. This girl does not like scary stuff. Horror films, we mostly turn down horror film roles. And there's some really icky, kid things that are putting kids through. Now, sometimes they'll say the child will not be exposed to this or they won't know what's happening. Or we'll tell them they're running from a bear, so the directors sometimes understand. But we've turned down plenty of roles that just don't fit.
Yeah, no horror for me.
Any other questions? Yes.
So Ella, I have a 5-year-old daughter and she'll be starting kindergarten in just a couple of weeks, and I was just wondering, I wish that she could have come today. I would have loved to have brought her to meet you, but any good words of advice that you could give me to give back to her?
For acting? Or
Well, she's into dance right now, but we're not really sure if we want to continue with dance, but any good motivational, encouraging words?
Well, I actually just had a ballroom competition was it 2 days ago?
Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. And I was in the beginning. I was very nervous. My heart started beating, and then I almost didn't want to go on the floor the first time. And then after 2 times of going on there, I was kind of like, this is fun. You can't think of it as, oh wait, there's judges looking at me. Oh wait, there's people looking at me. What do I do? I mean, in acting, I don't have that problem, but I think in dance I do a little bit more. But you just have to think no. This is supposed to be fun. I'm supposed to have a good time. It's summer right now, and just go for it and have fun.
So don't think of it as a job.
So yeah, don't think of it as it's a job. It's just for fun.
Thank you.
Carolina.
2 questions. One, from all the things that you have done, like entrepreneur, actress, singer, and all that stuff, is there something that your heart likes the most to do in the future? Because now you have the energy and your mom. I mean, both together have all the energy and time to do all these things. But do you want to do something specific in the future?
Well, as she mentioned, I loved animals, and I want to get to maybe be, because there's this junior zookeeper thing I'm going to try out for, so maybe work with animals a little bit more too, if I could try a little bit more.
Animals.
And
We do live 2 miles from the zoo, so that's a good thing. We just, yeah. What about all the stuff that you do?
well, nothing really specific. I mean, there's always new things that I'm going to learn about, and I'm going to be like, oh wait, this sounds fun, let me try it. But there's always just going to be things like, oh wait, no, this is not my personality.
What about being a director?
Being a director, yes, is definitely something I want to do in the future. I love directing. I mean, I guess to be honest, sometimes I like to be a boss. Sometimes. So I think directing is just the next step to that.
I think you're always the boss.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Good
How
answer.
do you fit school into all this?
That's a great question.
I can kind of get that one too.
Well, I can
But yeah,
tell her
do that.
because it was an evolution. She went to a local pre-K and kindergarten, and then when we decided to go to LA for pilot season, we had to do homeschool. And man, that was a challenge that first time because I didn't know like what curriculum to pick. And when you're working, like when she was on her show, it's law in California and through the SAG-AFTRA union, which she's a member of SAG-AFTRA, that they provide a teacher. There's a studio teacher, and 3 hours of schooling is required every day of work that you're on set. And usually it's done before, then a little bit in between, but it's required. So
Don't skip it.
no, you can't skip it. But her teacher was amazing. They'd go to the LA Zoo and they grew sunflowers, and so it wasn't just like staying in the classroom. But for now, I have found a one-on-one tutor for her online, and she's going to start going to a drop-off. But basically, again, we can fly to California tomorrow. Of course, it's summer, but like pretend it's not, and we wouldn't miss a beat, you know. And it did take like a year to kind of find that rhythm, but because I work and I'm not a good teacher, and we, you know, butt heads a little bit when it comes to school, I'm smart enough to find someone else to do the teaching, especially with math, which as a writer, do not show or even talk to me about numbers. It just makes me itchy. So, but I'm fluent in Spanish, and she does sign language, so I would learn sign language with her. She loves that. I like speaking Spanish with her. Writing a vocabulary, I like can't wait to do her vocabulary lessons with her. And so we really get somebody to supplement with the math, a little bit of science and stuff like that. So it's personally structured for us. We took 2 years, I guess, to find some good books and curriculum that we like. Yeah, she wants to say.
So, after, I guess, kindergarten, when I was going into first grade, I wanted to go to a school called Manatee.
Yes.
And
Well, that's the school where Manatee Elementary would have been her school.
but they would only let me miss like how many
9 days.
9 days
For a semester.
For a semester, and we couldn't do that. Sometimes I might have to be gone for 9 months.
Well, yeah.
Or I mean that could happen. I don't know, but
So I went in to register her, and the principal said 9 days, and I left. I just, I knew it wasn't going to work. So we didn't do public school.
yeah, but you can really just when you do homeschool, you can just move it around to your schedule. It can be any time. I mean, you get books too. So if I can't do a class, I can just do my pages and stuff. So yeah.
I will say that I've learned how efficient homeschool can be, how much you can get done in 2-3 hours, and then the rest of the time she's at music lessons and art lessons and preparing bracelets and, you know, so that's the beauty of it, and it is a result. I imagine kids who go to public school still could do it, it's just you have fewer hours in the day to get that much done. And so that's been a beautiful byproduct. And so we did homeschool, we set it up because of travel for acting, and then we were set up and ready to go during the pandemic. We were just already homeschooling, but we would have opted to do that anyway at that point.
Yes.
How much do you think the success of Ella has been attributed to you?
Well, I don't know if I want to put a percentage on it, but she would have done nothing if I didn't drive her, fly her, pack her, do her media kit,
And
her
support
bios,
me.
her social media, of course, support you. So I mean, it's everything. I agree. It's a huge part of myself and my husband, who 150%. Even more when I had reservations, he'd be like, "Take her, go." You know, he grew up and never left North Carolina until he went to UCF and for computer science. And he said, "You get one life, just go live it. Take her." And so we really appreciate that support from him. And he's remote. He works for Harris, but he's 100% remote. And so he's traveled with us. As long as there's internet, he can do his thing. But when it's a short trip, I say a week or less, he'll stay home and then we just go. Especially the cost of travel right now. It's a little.
It was a little bit hard for me at
Nancy.
first.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you were incorporated at 6. So can you tell us a little bit about what that was all about and, you know, how Ella has progressed since 6?
Yes, again, so the business side of things is just not pleasant for me to deal with, but thankfully she has a manager who's in LA. She has multiple agents in LA, an agent in Atlanta, and the manager is also like a business manager at this point. Although some, when they get big enough, actors would get another business manager and an attorney, you know. But her manager, yes, as you grow, your team will grow. But when she did the TV show, we had to hurry up and become a corporation because of the 2018 tax law where you couldn't write off deductions anymore if you were paid by a W-2. I don't know if you're familiar with that. The finance person, we're shaking your head, she knows what I'm talking about. So prior to that, so everything, like when we pay for our own travel, you know, and she has memberships for her databases for how she gets submitted for auditions, headshots, like all of those are business expenses. But none of it would have been able to be a deduction without becoming a corporation. And so she definitely out-earned my husband and myself together that year in 2019. And which, and again, he does cybersecurity at Harris, and I thought he was well paid. But Ella, at 6 years old, put us to shame. So that was a great year, and so she became a corporation, and now that's how she gets paid for all her jobs. She's a member of the SAG-AFTRA union, also at age 6, which I don't necessarily agree that children should be made to join that union. That's a whole nother issue. But that means she cannot work non-union jobs. And Florida basically is 99.9% non-union jobs, so she doesn't work in her own state anymore. So that's why she has an agent in Atlanta, because Atlanta is very production heavy. You know, all the Marvel films are made there, Stranger Things, you know, The Walking Dead. She auditioned for one of those, you know, so we'll hop up to Atlanta if we need to, no problem. But it has elevated her, but also eliminated opportunities for her to work at a certain level, which as a kid, all you want to do is work and have fun, you know. So that's
fun.
And it is fun, but she can't do, so that's why also she wanted to make independent films. She can make her own films, and she can employ, you know, independent other people on crew and talent, but then we have to go through a little hoop to if she wants to appear in her own films because she's in the union. Yeah, but there's a micro budget contract that I was told is pretty easy to do. But yeah, that's the thing. She can't just show up in her own film without going through this contract process.
So I have, I want to lead you down a path to share a story. I loved this because Lee puts in so much effort behind the scenes, and it relates to a business owner having to pivot. So when you guys were filming with Derek, you had a lemonade stand in the neighborhood. Tell us about the story and how that ended up with an envelope, a surprise envelope for Mom full of checks.
Okay.
Oh.
I can tell that a little bit.
You can tell a little bit of the story.
Yeah.
You mean how I got
Okay. Yeah.
Cha-ching.
So, first off, it was such a big surprise meeting him. And then after, I just saw off in the corner when they were filming, Mom was just, once he saw him walk in, she was just like.
Well, we should put the context that this commercial, Ella was cast as herself to tell her own story about Ella Bella Beads. So it wasn't like she was playing a role. And it was from American Family Insurance, which is an insurance company that's nationwide, and they were expanding into Florida, so you may or may not have heard of them. And Derek Jeter is one of their ambassadors. They have sports figures who are their ambassadors. And they did not tell him that he was going to be on set, that he was part of this commercial. Now, I'm from New Jersey, and he played his entire career in the Yankees.
And I only know the Yankees because every time we visit, like one of the main things on the TV, Yankees, 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 Yankees.
Yeah, so the whole family follows the Yankees. It's the only team I ever went and saw play when I was growing up. And so when Derek walked out on set and he's walking over to Ella, yeah, she's right. I was like probably falling over.
I know. I thought I saw you faint.
Yeah. And she didn't know who he was. So that was another beautiful aspect of it. And they ad-libbed. The director just gave Derek a few questions to prompt Ella, and so her answers were ad-libbed. And it was beautiful. And I think you wanted to. So in the beginning, they released the commercial, and a couple people on social media had made comments. What is a little girl doing with a strange guy? Where's her parents? And you heard my voice in the original commercial, and then they actually decided, okay, people have a valid point. They re-edited it, and they put me visually in the commercial, so you can see me. And when they do that, they have to pay you. It's a union commercial. I made tens of thousands of dollars off that commercial, and I wasn't supposed to be. I think that's the story you were telling.
Yes.
So
what I loved was how the insurance company who does this stuff all the time responded so quickly and had to make that pivot. And she didn't even know until she was in California for months and didn't know that she had this envelope of checks.
Oh yeah, they were waiting for me back here because as an extra, you might get paid a couple $100, and that's the contract that I signed because they saw my arm lifting a sign to hand her. You heard my voice. I was just an extra. You couldn't see me. The rules are if you're recognizable. So y'all know this. You can be an extra, but if you're recognizable in the commercial, they have to pay you a certain rate, not the extra rate. And I was blown away. So she made her money, and then I made a lot of money as well, just for driving her there. And I thought, I finally get some compensation, for being her chauffeur.
And I just wanted to add, from that commercial, there was about, I think, 2 moments that were pretty cool that my mom keeps reminding me about. One of them was Derek asked me what my favorite baseball team was, and I didn't know anything other than the Yankees, so I said Yankees. And surprisingly, after the commercial, I asked so many questions about him because I knew nothing about him. Except how to spell his name. And then she was like, I said that? He was in the Yankees? I'm like, I didn't even know that.
Well, he said right answer. That's the right answer.
I think the funniest thing that we're going to add in was he asked me how long I have had this dream of my business. And at the time, I was 6. And, this came out of my mouth and said, I've had this dream for 10 years. So,
Yeah.
I don't know why I said that, but I said it.
So I have one more question, and then I'll ask for final questions as we close. But I know that a big part of your business is giving back to the community. Can you tell me why that is so important to you?
Well, it's important to me because, first off, I always feel so bad for everyone who is less fortunate. And even, you could probably tell this, I don't remember completely, but when we were driving somewhere, I saw a homeless person, and I was tearing up in the car because I had nothing to give him. And I was just like, what can I do? Is there anything I can do to help
give back?
Well, right now, I do the Children's Hunger Project. If you guys know what that is, they give money to the kids.
Will they buy food?
They buy food for the kids. And you told me the whole story about this, because on school they get food. On the weekends they don't. And I felt so bad when she told me that story. And I'm like, I don't even feel like I want to eat unless they can. It just feels so unfair in life for anybody, homeless, homeful,
You're making me cry.
that they don't have a proper life. And that just always made me feel like I had to do something to help. So I did the Children's Hunger Project.
But we didn't just give the money. You know, I wanted to take her one time to pack the food, and then she demanded that we go every week. So during the pandemic, we went every week for months and months, and then we brought a couple friends. We did it on a time when they didn't have a scheduled packing group, and she wants to go back now that they've moved. And I mean, like, demanded it. You know, it fulfilled her. So we went and did it.
I mean, I just felt so passionate about it. I had to. I mean, still, in my heart, if I see a homeless person, I still, even if I don't cry, like, exaggerating, I still cry in my mind and say, what can I do to help this person? So doing the Children's Hunger Project, I think, is something that I really would like to do.
Do we have any other questions?
I have a question about your social media life.
Oh, that's not a question for her then.
I'm
Well,
just
she
wondering
participates, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that it's great that you're creative online too, but I wanted to know if you could give just some parents some advice on letting their kids be creative online and using these really cool apps, but keeping them safe.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. So I'm in a lot of parent forums and groups with parents of actors and entertainers. And so this is often discussed. And my answer is there's no right answer. If you don't feel it's right for your child and your family, don't do it. It's not like you have to. It's not gonna help you book jobs. Somebody just asked this question. And I was like, no, it won't help you book jobs, but it will help you build your brand. The Derek Jeter commercial was, the people were like, they found her on social media and they knew everything they needed to know about her just by looking at her Instagram or Facebook. And then they interviewed us both to just get to know us. So I am very strategic in her social media as a brand because I know people look at it. And it's casting people, we have producer friends, like the lady from her TV show, she's like, oh, I see her dancing. Like, yes, I want people to see her. Everything I put out there is because I want them to see it for a reason. Special skills as an actor is hugely important. If they need a ballroom dancer, she's ready to go. She can inline skate, right? We need a couple more videos of that lately, but everything we put out there is strategic. But you don't want to put where you go to school. No logos. Like I've called parents I know or messaged them. I'm like, your kid has a little logo on their shirt, like on Instagram, on Facebook, publicly, like take that down. Sign in the background, like there's a story of a parent from an actor who was in a Disney Junior show, can't remember the name of it, and she said her son, they were living in Utah filming, it was the Andy Mack show. Andy Mack, she liked that show. And they lived in an apartment, but they were young adults playing high school kids, that happens often. And they were living in an apartment building and they posted a photo and there was a logo on the rug of the apartment complex. And some bands showed up there. So you have to think of everything. Not like post after you've left, don't post patterns. Like I even hesitate to, maybe I have, thanked her dance studio because I don't want people to know where she goes. But she does private lessons and our schedule's all over the place. So it's not like a regular thing that could show up. And nobody's gonna, do that, but I have to think as if somebody might, or she gets one more big movie or something happens and then she's more well known. So I'm thinking now of just protecting that. So there are definitely good practices, but I am a firm believer in social media for creating opportunity, for networking, and building the brand.
I'm still learning how to do the social media part myself.
Yes, and I ask her, she picks which photo goes, which video, like we work on it together, what song goes with the reels. So she's totally involved, but I'm the one controlling it, obviously.
And I think we had one more question over here.
So I know that you worked with a lot of big people like John Stamos and Adam Sandler. Is there a specific actor or actress that you want to work with? And is there like a show, like one of your favorite shows that you want to shoot for?
Oh. Okay, well, I gotta say, I'm a big fan of Brad Pitt. He's single. So, that would work. It's gonna wait a couple years, but he'll still.
Okay. How about a show?
Well, there's not really a specific show or movie, but I think that I would just like to be on a Disney movie or show because Disney, I mean, I watch it almost every day. I love it, and I know a lot of kids love it too, and I just think that would be a really cool and fun to be on Disney. So it's cool.
Well, if you can't tell, Ella is a comedian. And she's naturally funny. She literally makes us cry and laugh at home just naturally in our own house without technically an audience. So this was cool to have an audience again. We hope that you laughed and learned from her. So thank you for having us.
Thank you guys for saying yes and showing up. And Ella, I brought you a little gift. In honor of National Ice Cream Month, there's a treat in there for you. I hope you like ice cream.
Ooh, nice. What does it say? Can you read it?
Believe in yourself.
Very good. She does. That's a great gift for you.
And let's see. Little envelope.
I bet that's for some ice cream.
Thank you.
Oh, look at that.
Very cute.
That's right next to her dance studio, so that works out.
Tote bag.
Thank you. Thank you.
On your travels, there you go. And one for you.
Awesome.
Cheaper. Was that not fantastic? Let's give a round of applause. Thank you. Tracy, excellent. Ella, we'll look for you on your next TV show or whatever endeavor you get involved with, and we'll be following your little Facebook page and Instagram and wow, everywhere else that Lee gets you. Lee, thank you for all you do. Lee, if you ever write for Everything Brevard, is the editor and makes everything, perfect. Because boy, I know we send you articles, and she's just like.
No. That's my job.
So she's fantastic, but really.
I see her do it very late at night, and I'm just like, go to bed.
That's
girl.
when I get to work, after she's done.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. She has to look after you first. So, poor mom gets to work really late.
Priorities,
but,
yes.
well, that's a sacrifice that you've done to bring Ella to this place in her life, and but really, it's amazing. We can see how well you guys work together, and your future is going to be very, very bright. So, thank you all. Our next one again, September 30th, and we will let you know date and speakers. So,
And I
thank you all.
should mention, just social media is Adventures of Ella Grace. That's on both Instagram and Facebook.
And then we want to thank just one more, our sponsors. So Republic Services, once again, we have We Venture and Kaori with Edward Jones. So thank you all and have a great day.
Nancy, I'll take one picture with you after I take a picture.
Oh, sure. Did you find out a few things? Was that interesting? Yeah?
Nancy, will you step in, please? Oh, sure. Lee, I'll get these over to you right now. Thank
Oh, I forgot to mention that. Purchasing stuff.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Let me turn this off.
If you'd like to purchase